Welcome, young Skywalker. Or something like that. Day 8 of the DRose sneaker challenge. Let's look at DRose 8. So what's up, guys? It's Adam, and I'm back again with another review today for you guys. And today we're taking a look at DRose 8 that I got some theories about. And so we're gonna kind of break into some, a little bit of that towards the end of the review. But let's just talk about the shoe first. And what we're gonna be looking at is a pair of DRose 8s in this Cavs colorway. Now, the Rose 8 is a shoe that I have an interesting type of history with. The Rose 8s, I haven't always been a huge fan of them. I don't think that they're bad. I don't think that they're great. I don't think that they're horrible. But it's a shoe that, I'm kind of just meh on. I feel like everyone else that played in a pair of Rose 8s liked them way more than I did. A lot of people liked the traction more. A lot of people liked the lockdown more. A lot of people liked the way the boost felt. I think I just was on a high of how great and how much I love the Rose 7s. Like, the Rose 7 is the one shoe that I think if I could go back and buy, double up on colorways even, just so I always have a pair of dead stock Rose 8s to play in, it definitely would be the case. The Rose 8s also marked a time when the Rose line, when we first went to having no DRose box. We just had a regular Adidas Boost box, which I did feel some type of way about, but again, it was a thing where I was like, I guess it's just a sign of times. This also happens to be the shoe that Derek had when he first transitioned from being with the Knicks to the Cavs. And then he went from the Cavs to the Utah Jazz, who then waived him, and then he ended up going to Milwaukee. This shoe has a lot of mixture of feelings and kind of memories and emotions with it. But let's kind of just break down some of the tech on this shoe and then kind of go from there. So one of the things about this upper is it has this engineer mesh, but kind of like jacquard upper to it, which, I don't remember this being really bad or really having anything that I really disliked about it. These panels where it has the overlays in it, I wasn't a huge fan of. It was there for additional rigidity and support, but coming off a pair of the Prime Knits and how nice the Prime Knit felt in the 7s, it was just kind of hard to kind of go from that into this, and all at the same price point. The tongue on these has the DRose logo placed right there on it, and then it has all these perforations off the tongue, so there's a lot of nice breathability there to it. The pattern to the tongue kind of has all these lines to it, kind of is meant to look like a tiger. It's really interesting when you look at that when it comes to the colorways that were the white and blue, because even though there was probably going to be Knicks colorways, you can look at those as colorways that harken back to Memphis Tigers, so kind of cool. You also will notice too that in terms of the Rose logo placed anywhere else in the shoe, it's here on the back of the heel, but it's very small. This placement of it also has the old classic Rose logo with the 3 stripes for the E, which is pretty cool. And inside it, it's hard to see, but there's all these math equations that is meant to be placed in that pattern there, and those math equations are all meant to represent basically the how it's hard to calculate how to guard DRose because how shifty and quick he can be, and this is style of play. Of course, you come down to the midsole and you have boost for that, which is full length boost. You have this outsole, which is this herringbone type of outsole pattern that is kind of, again, some people really like this. If you had the translucent pair versus a non-translucent pair, there's some or pairs that have translucent outsoles versus non-translucent outsoles, there's some debate about whether one was better than the other. If I remember correctly, I think people like the ones with the non-translucent outsole more. Again, I never really had too much of an experience of a difference between one and the other. You also do have this torsional piece here that you can see that's to help give some rigidity and some stability to the boost here on the outsole as well, with the Adidas logo there. This, I don't know if this is where someone was selling the shoe prior and this is how they marked it when they went to sell it, and then kind of went from there. I do kind of like the 3 stripe branding here, and this piece back here is meant to kind of help cup your ankle, but again, I didn't really find these to be the most rigid. There's a very small plate there on the back, but I don't know. Again, the Rose 8s really weren't one of my favorite shoes, and it really tells when you look at the fact between the 8s and even the 9s. The 9s I liked from aesthetic look, but I didn't do many reviews on them, or I didn't really get many pairs mainly because of the fact that I didn't really, you know, have a huge fondness for them. And I was also working at the time, you know, and working on, you know, finishing up college and stuff like that. So that's where my focus was more at, but that's besides the point. So when you look at the Rose 8s too, the only other like piece of like storytelling stuff that you can look at with it is Derek's signature is up here on the forefoot, and that's the same on both the left and the right side of the shoe. But now we're going to get into theory time, okay? So here's my theory about this shoe. There's something I've not pointed out yet about this shoe that makes it very different and goes into this theory that I have, okay? And that is that one, the colorway is the Cavs colorway. One of the Cavs colorways. There's like 2 or 3 different iterations of the Cavs shoes for the Rose 8s that Derek wore. And what's interesting about it though is that when Derek wore these shoes, there was one distinct feature that was very different about the Rose 8s with his pair versus a regular pair that someone like you or me got. And that came into right here, this eyelet. This eyelet is the whole big piece that goes into my whole theory that this pair of DRose 8s is not just some random pair of Rose 8s, but I theorize that this is a pair of Rose 8s that Derek wore the night they played the Detroit Pistons. And I have some photos of it to kind of back it up for you guys to see. I'll see if I can, you know, overlay that here in the footage. But the big piece that's like so different with this is that, yeah, like this right here, these eyelets, these are not on, you know, regular releases. I'll show you guys a, you know, a Rose 8 of a general release pair, and those do not have the eyelets. Even later colorways that came out don't have the eyelets. The only ones that have eyelets are the pairs that Derek wore. And you know, like I said, it's hard to actually, you know, track it down and say, is this pair of Rose 8s actually Derek's pair? But I'm quite convinced. The other part why I'm convinced is because it is his size. It's a 12.5. So this would be the correct size for a shoe that was his, but we don't know, you know, like I said, I don't know for certain. The one thing I haven't done in here yet to look and see, and I don't know for certain, but I'm going to pipe this insole out. And, you know, I'm just going to continue to go with my theory for a second. This is a thicker Adidas insole than what they usually put in the shoes. The Rose 8s, the general release pairs, did not have an insole this thick. I mean, I'm 95% certain to have an insole this thick. Stand by. Okay, so here's a pair of Rose 8s right here. If I take this out, yeah, this is not the same thickness of insole. It's the same design of insole. But this is like the insoles that they put on the old, in the Rose like 2 and 2.5s. That was much thicker than what they started putting in the shoes once you had boost. Because for the general consumer, the whole thing about having boost too was like they want you to be able to feel the boost. And these have a thicker insole to them. So I can't say for certain, you know, I can't say for certain that this is actually a pair that Derek wore because I don't have all the pieces I need to like factually back it up. You know, it would be interesting to see if the night of that game, I can't remember exactly what all happened during that game, if he gave us, you know, gave a pair away to a fan or what the case might be. But these shoes could have gone on a journey where they never went through anything that would have authenticated it. And I have both sides to it as well too. I'm showing you just one side right now, but like this is the other side as well. And to me, they also have the look of like being worn, you know, for like a handful of games and then discarded, because that's just kind of the look to it. And I even look at like the high wear areas on the shoes. But again, I don't know. These could have been worn by someone else afterwards. They could have never been worn by anyone else afterwards. But that insole in there is definitely thicker. 12.5 is definitely his size. And again, for me, the eyelets are the part that is just kind of the last, you know, selling point with it. So for myself, guys, I'm going to say that I have a pair of DRose 8s that were worn by Derek Rose himself. That's the story I have, and I'm going to stick to it. And they just kind of look like it. Now, did I pay that for them? No, I think I got a steal on eBay from someone that did not know what they potentially had. And when I saw them, and I realized it's kind of be cool to have, and I kind of like having shoes for the clock that I don't ever have to move. This is going to go right there, and I'm going to get a box for the other side and put it up in it for, you know, for now, but then that's going to kind of be what it is. But yeah, pretty crazy, man, right? My theory is kind of wild, but like I said, I'm like 95% certain. I'll say 90% certain. So I'm willing to take 10% that I could be off. Oh, what's up, kitty cat? What's up, Rose? I don't know if anyone knows that, but I got a cat that I have that's named after DRose, and her name is Rose. This is Ray here too, though. I think she's been Jay chilling for the last review. I've filmed 2 reviews back to back, guys. Isn't that nice? You know, just trying to get ahead of the curve. I got a big shoot day tomorrow, and I will also be gone pretty much all day then. So I just want to make sure I get it. Oh, and also I got a game tomorrow too, man. I go from the gig to go drop buckets then, you know. So I had to come prepared. So with that being said, theory time with me, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think I have a pair of DRose 8s? Of any of the people at Adidas that might watch this review and would know, I mean, send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know. I'm like I said, I'm like 95% certain, but I can't say with, you know, full certainty. This is too big of a size for me to wear, but that's okay. We'll just use it as a display piece. And if I'm wrong, I didn't lose that much money to get them. But, you know, Ray might be upset, so there's that. But yeah, I want you guys to watch the review. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think this is actually a pair that Derek wore himself? This is my evidence. Is my evidence enough to justify it? Let me know down in the comments. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next day for the DRose Sneaker Challenge. Peace, and have a great night. Bye.